Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Emix Radio. This is my host,
Jason.
That's right. Today we have a very special topic for you guys. We are going to talk about pranks. But before we do that, we have promised you guys that every single Monday we're going to try a new drink.
Absolutely. Can't go back on our word, right?
Can't go back on it, man.
Absolutely not. That's not how we practice here at Emix Radio.
That's right. We stay loyal to you guys. So, Jason, what did you bring us today?
Today I was at my local liquor distributory and came across, I'd never seen this before, and I am a fan of Jack Daniels, so those that are Jack Daniels connoisseurs will probably slap me in the face for saying this, but I've never seen the green label before, nor have I've never heard of it. Last week we were talking about the show. I told you about the Frank Sinatra Jack Daniels whiskey that came out. It's a limited edition, $150 a bottle. I've tried the single barrel. I've tried the Gentleman Jack. I've tried Jack Daniels. I've tried the Jack Daniels Honey. And then we have, there's a couple other new limited releases that just came out. There's an unaged rye, which is a clear Jack Daniels, and then there's a younger rye whiskey too. But this is Green Label. Just did a quick research before I got to the show here on it. Apparently, it's a younger Jack Daniels. It's not aged as long as the traditional Old Number 7 Tennessee whiskey, and apparently, if it makes a difference, it's stored in a different part of the warehouse where it's aged than the rest of the barrels. So we have Jack Daniel's Green Label for all you out there. If you could find it, awesome. This is the only bottle I could find, so I got two of them. And,
cool. You ready?
Hope you enjoy. I am ready.
Let's check it out. Are we gonna do like 3 shots like last time, or?
I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm a fan of Jack Daniels. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably gonna slow sip it, but I just want to get a little taste for it and see how it goes. So, salud.
Cheers.
Salud to all you listeners. Thank you very much for watching.
That's pretty good.
It is good. I do enjoy a Tennessee whiskey.
I'm gonna say this much. As you know, I'm starting to get into the drinking scene or whatnot.
Right.
And last Monday we tried that Black Label. It was from Canada.
Black Velvet.
Black Velvet.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
That was a lot smoother than this one. This one actually burned a little bit more.
This one definitely burns. That's one of the identifying features of whiskey. Is whiskey definitely has more of a burn than other alcohols do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it hurt or anything, you know.
But you do feel like a little bit like a fire-breathing dragon afterwards.
For sure. But yeah, it was definitely good, man. Thank you so much
I
for
would just
bringing
a quick side story before we get started. This reminded me. I actually went to visit some family one summer. My uncle moved to like northern Alabama, like in one of the suburbs of Birmingham area. And so I was out there for one summer visiting for a couple of weeks, and I viewed a lot of different stuff amongst like the southeast. So I went to Atlanta, I went to Nashville, I went to different parts of Alabama, and then I also went to Lynchburg, Tennessee, where the Jack Daniels distillery is. I actually went to the distillery and took a tour of the facility.
Wow.
It's an amazing place. I mean, the history there, a lot of the original buildings are still standing, and the property is just humongous. I mean, they have warehouse after warehouse up on these hillsides of aging whiskey. They're just by the tons. But an interesting fact, which some people may know, but you may not know, I didn't know until I went there, but Lynchburg, Tennessee, where Jack Daniel's whiskey is made and produced, is a dry county. So you actually cannot purchase alcohol in Lynchburg, Tennessee, where Jack Daniels is made.
Wow.
Just a cool little fun fact. I thought it was, you could go, like you could get like souvenir items, but you cannot buy the product there at the distillery. You have to go, there's a town that's probably about a couple of miles down the road, and you could go there, and they have, there's like 4 or 5 shops where you could just get different memorabilia and more, and bottles of Jack. So just a really interesting little FF fun fact for you.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. I thought that was canceled. I thought like after that, you know how they stopped selling alcohol for a good while? I forgot what that
Prohibition?
Prohibition, yeah. I thought after that, they thought it was a bad idea and they just allowed alcohol sales. I didn't even know that still existed.
Yeah, there's still dry counties, and there's actually still some places. I think a lot of it is in like the South or along what they call the Bible Belt, where there's a lot more conservative. I don't want to say societies or townships, something to that effect, but. They even there's some cities where you can't buy alcohol just on Sunday, where it's not necessarily a dry county, but just on Sunday they won't sell alcohol, which I thought is kind of weird too. I don't know any particular city names, but that's one thing that I've heard.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I was wondering if it's because the factory's there.
I don't know,
because people might.
I honestly have no idea. I haven't looked into the history of it, but I just thought it was a very interesting fact that, you know, you can't wherever they're making it. I think it was a dry county before Jack Daniel's had moved in there. Although, if I'm looking correctly, it's usually on the label. Yeah, I don't know when the distillery was actually founded there. I'm sure I could look it up really quick, but yeah. So I mean, it's a weird thing.
Oh, that's cool. Well, there it is, folks. Green label, Jack Daniel's. Whiskey. Oh, you know what? One more question about this before we move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard whiskey is the all-American alcohol. Is that? Can you touch bases on that, or?
I don't know enough about it. I know there's a really big push on bourbon right now, from what I hear from other talk shows and just kind of people at the bars, bartenders, people I've talked to. Is bourbon is like a really big fashionable item now. I don't want to be stereotypical, but I know a lot of the hipsters are drinking bourbon, from what I understand. So like Jim Beam is not like a high-end bourbon, but you know that's a bourbon. I think bourbon's pretty similar to whiskey. I'm not really big on bourbon myself. I don't know a lot about it. I've been more of a whiskey drinker myself, kind of like you. I like whiskey. My dad was a Jack Daniel's drinker, so I kind of inherited it.
Runs in the family.
Him. Yeah, exactly. So, but I think between whiskey and bourbon, those are definitely probably the two more popular, I would think, in America.
Because I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was telling me that one of them, the clear one, would that be bourbon or whiskey?
I think either way, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, where it gets its color is from the aging process. So they're usually aged in like an oak barrel or some kind of wooden barrel, and that's where the color comes from. But when it's originally produced, and I actually saw this at the distillery itself, it's clear. So when I know that for whiskey, bourbon, I don't know. I think it is. I know Kentucky is really famous for bourbon. A Kentucky bourbon I know is supposed to be really good from that area, that region. But I think they're clear, and they get their color from the aging, which is why this one has a little bit of lighter color as opposed to the regular Old No. 7 Jack Daniel's, because it's a younger age, whereas the other Jack's a little bit darker.
Yeah, that's what my friend was saying, that during the Prohibition that you mentioned, they left it without color because they wanted, to transport it.
Right.
And then it became really popular without color. So I think it's bourbon. Well, I'm not too sure, though.
Well, probably that, too. And I imagine the other thing would be that they could distribute it faster, make more money faster, and thus, start turning profit, and maybe, just crank out a bunch of barrels before anybody caught on to what they were doing, change locations. I mean, if you're a smart criminal, not that I am one, but that's what I would think about doing.
There you go. So if there's ever a prohibition, you learned it here first on Emix Radio.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to move on to tonight's topic. We decided to talk about pranks. The reason I said that is because I feel that people as you're growing older or whatnot, you try to mess around with your friends a lot.
Right.
And one of my favorite things to do is mess with people on April Fools.
I don't know. I just feel like everybody sees it coming on. I mean, I know a lot of people, especially as we get older, they get busy. They may forget what day of the week it is. They may forget it's April 1st, and some people may fall for it. But to me, I know. I mean, I really don't get taken on April. I mean, nobody's. If they've tried, they haven't been able to take to get me on it. But I don't know. I've never been much of a prankster myself. I've done little things here and there just with my buddies messing around. But that's more. Just kind of jokes. I mean, I don't know if you necessarily consider them pranks. Are you a very big prankster yourself?
You know what? I'm a big prankster, but not on the level of like I would never mess with somebody's personal self or their items or anything.
Okay.
Just more on the joking side.
Right.
So I'm gonna tell you my first prank.
All right.
This is the biggest prank I pulled.
Was it an April Fool's prank?
No.
Okay.
This was actually on my parents.
Okay.
So if they're listening. I was in the hospital because I had to have a procedure. It was a biopsy, and I was placed under, right? And when I woke up, I obviously my parents were worried. I was probably like 16 years old.
Okay.
And when I woke up, I told the nurse, "Oh, just play along with me. Go along with what I'm about to do."
Right.
And then she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go get your parents." She was totally cool. So big shout
Right.
out to that nurse. I don't remember her name, but
We'll call her Nurse Betty.
Nurse Betty. And finally, my parents show up. They're next to me, and I start turning around, looking everywhere, and I'm like, "Who are you?"
Like right in their eyes.
Right in their eyes.
Oh man.
And my mom just started freaking out. She's all like, "Oh my God, go get the doctor." And then the nurse Betty, she's all like, "Oh my God, yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. Let me go get the doctor."
Oh wow.
And then my dad also was like, kind of like, he just gave me a face like, "Oh shoot, what's going on?" And finally, I broke.
How long?
It was a good 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So not too long.
No. Because then if they got the doctor, I was like, nah.
Did your mom cry? Or did she just get hysterical?
Yeah, she gets hysterical.
I imagine most moms would. I mean, just think. I mean, just the anxiety from that situation, having you go under. I mean, you never know.
Right. Especially before, because the procedure was actually a pretty intense procedure.
Right.
And she knew that, so I could imagine her train of thought was like, the doctor had told her, there's a chance he might not wake up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure that's the one thing you really want to hear.
Yeah, and then me doing a prank like that. So that's my prank. My call to fame, I guess.
For me, I think probably maybe a more common prank was amongst me and my friends. It's something we do. It's called when you ice somebody. So what we do, you've heard of this?
I think so.
Okay, so it's really common, very very popular. I mean, I think we probably picked it up from somewhere else, but it's a really good joke. It's not a big prank, but we're hanging out with the guys, drinking. When we usually watching baseball, football, boxing, or something like that, playing a little beer pong. I told you about cornhole, where you throw the bean bags. We're playing that. We're just, I think maybe atypical guys. Like we play games, drinking games, and so what icing is when somebody goes to the bathroom, or some other part of the house or apartment or wherever you are, and they come back, you get a Smirnoff Ice. And you place it somewhere kind of inconspicuous where they wouldn't expect to see it on the floor. And as soon as they see it, or if they knock it over, they've got to go down on one knee and they've got to pound it. Oh. And that's called when you ice somebody. So that was it's supposed to be a demasculating or a feminizing kind of thing, because Smirnoff Ice, not a very manly drink. So it was just kind of our way to kind of call each other a puss, or of course everybody's taking pictures or recording on their phones. And this was, we haven't done it for a while, so this was probably before Instagram and stuff like that. But I mean, it was just it'd get text around to everybody, and we'd have a good laugh about it. So, and then you'd always have you'd have to just kind of wear it until you could get somebody back.
Right.
But there was usually a 6-pack of Smirnoff in somebody's refrigerator because of that. So that was really our prank.
So funny story about Smirnoff. I've been going to TOT lately. I don't, for whoever doesn't
for the
know.
listeners out there, I was gonna say, yeah.
It's called Theology on Tap. It's a Catholic organization. Basically, you go to different talks, once a week, and there's drinks. The idea behind it is you talk about religion with drinks available. And I go up to the bar, and my friend Lawrence, big shout out to Lawrence, he asked me, "Oh, what do you want?" He was playing bartender.
Right.
And I asked for a Smirnoff.
Just to mess with them, or for
No,
real?
that's what I wanted.
Okay.
And he looks at me and he tells me, "Oh, is that for the girls?" I'm like, "Nah, it's for me, dude." And he just started making fun of me. So
I've had it before too.
It's good, man.
I've tried it. Yeah, it's definitely. I think when you're first trying, I think you've got to try it. I mean, if you drink it all, I think you've got to try it just to see what it's about. But maybe behind closed doors where nobody's watching might be the best way to go.
Well, to be honest with you, like I've told you before, I don't like beer.
Right. That's just because we haven't found the right beer for you yet.
Yeah. Everyone keeps saying that, but so the only two options there were Smirnoff and
right.
beer. So I decided to go for the.
Okay, so I'll definitely give you that. Well, I mean, on that question, just because we're talking about it, what is it you don't like about beer?
Okay, so it reminds me a lot of caramel.
Okay.
I don't like caramel. I just dislike it. The taste just not for me.
Okay.
And then to me, beer smells disgusting. Like the smell just really bugs me. Like
Okay.
a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
And your dad wasn't a drinker.
No, my dad does not drink.
Because that's one thing I remember as a kid was if we'd have family parties or something like that, and your tío would come up and give you a kiss goodbye, and just that wretched beer breath smell. I always remember that. I'll never forget that smell. And now I think about it. Gosh, when I go to kiss my wife or kiss my kids goodnight after if I've been out and had a couple of drinks, it's just damn. I mean, I kind of feel bad, but I don't know. Maybe it's one of those rites of passage or something like that. It's just wearing that dragon breath on you and your nostril hairs for.
And the funny part is that people in general don't like beer.
Right.
It's an acquired taste.
I'll admit I did not like beer the first 20 times I had it.
Yeah, so to me it's like, well, you're forcing yourself to get that acquired taste. I mean,
Right.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So what got you to say, "Oh, I like beer now"?
I think I just had to find one that I liked. I mean, part of it was an acquired taste, and then the other part was I think the first couple of times I was drinking beer, it was very cheap beer, natural ice, Bud Light, Coors Light, cheap beer because when you're young, you want to drink as much as you can to get wasted, and so it was just whatever was the cheapest. And then once I started trying, different beers, maybe something that was a little, not expensive beer, but stepping up to like Corona or Heineken or Newcastle and stuff like that, and just trying different things. I definitely, and now I have more of a palate for it. Right now I'm really big on ales. I like ales, darker ales. That St. Bernardus I brought in was an ale. I went to Disneyland yesterday, and in the California Adventure Park they have like a beer garden.
Yeah.
And I had a red trolley ale, which is kind of like a Jeremiah Red or a Newcastle, a darker ale like that. So I'm really big on ales right now. I'm not going to give up on you. I'm going to find one. If our listeners have any suggestions, your first beer that you liked, first one where you're like, oh, I really like this, definitely post to our Facebook page. Let us know what's going on.
By all means, hit us up. I'm totally willing to try it. I'm not one of those people that, like, oh, no, I'm not even going to try it.
Right.
I'm willing to try it. As you can see, we've been trying different stuff on the show. So, hit up our YouTube, our Facebook, or any of the sort, and we'll go ahead and put it on the show. Anyway, so going back to pranks, have you ever had, or your friends or whatnot, have ever done a drunk prank? Or somebody's just passed out, and you just have to bust a prank on them?
Absolutely. Usually it happens when I'm not there. I usually get the video about it later. I will say that for me, I don't put myself in that position. If I'm getting hammered, I'm gonna hang it out. I'll stay up. I'll find a way to stay up. I'll find something to do to keep me awake until everybody's gone, and I'll maybe be one of the later ones to leave, or I'll get a ride, or I'll find something out. But yeah, definitely. I mean, we enjoy. One of my buddies, Steve. We got a video of him just totally passed out, and we wrote Sharpie all over him.
Oh man.
I mean, all over him. Had no idea until he woke up, came out of the bathroom, was just like, what happened? And then one of my other buddies, Dave, there was a video recently of him passing out at his own house. And this is probably why. It was about 8:30, and they were just, lighting fire to his feet. Not actually on fire, but putting the lighter right up to his feet to torch him and get him going. So, I mean, I think you have to. I mean, if you get a guy passing out before 10 o'clock, I mean, you've got to do something to mess with him a little bit. I mean, you deserve it.
Yeah. I think the best pranks, and they're not really pranks, but I think the best things when people are passed out is the drunk pictures in the toilet. Those to me are just hilarious. Every time I see them, it's just like, oh man, yeah, that you deserve it. You deserve that picture.
Absolutely.
By all means, I don't recommend it. To put them up on social media.
Oh no, not at all.
You never know who might see that or whatnot.
Right.
Actually, I think that out of respect, you should know, I'll show you the picture of you in the toilet.
Or maybe Snapchat it or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very much against social media for those kind of things. I think people don't really understand the boundaries of that. I mean, if you're at a party and you put yourself in a position where there's a bunch of people around, people you don't know or stuff like that, and if you allow yourself, provided you don't get, a roofie or something slipped to you, if it's of your own doing, I think you've got you deserve whatever you got coming to you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I do. I think you're responsible for your own actions. You should be able to know your limits and know how much you could drink, how much you can't. But yeah, I mean I think people take advantage of social media to an extent, and then you get the whole cyberbullying, especially with the kids now. I mean, kids are drinking younger, doing drugs. I mean,
What do you think of the age limit in this country?
as far as the drinking age limit,
Yeah.
I am.
Are you for it or against it?
I really don't. I don't know. I don't really have much of a take on it. I think I do. I definitely agree. There's a lot of opinion out there where if you can serve this country, you know, in the military at 18, you should be able to buy a beer, and I'm okay with that. My concern, being older and now being a parent, you know, my kids are going to be coming of age later, is there are a lot of people out there, young people, who at the age of 18 may not be, you know, responsible enough to be able to handle drinking. Now, yeah, I mean, they're probably drinking anyways. So people say, yeah, they're going to drink anyways. I mean, shoot, well, if that's the case, I mean, you could drop the drinking age to 15 because kids are drinking then, and even younger sometimes. I would be okay if they dropped it to 18. I'd be okay with it, but yeah, I'd still be a little bit uneasy, worried about my kids as they get older to that age.
That was actually my next question. Did you drink before you were 21?
I did. Not quite. I mean, but not regularly. I mean, like I said, I'd go to a party and, you know, I'd try a beer or something like that. I'd try a mixed drink. Probably that's what I'd try a beer, and then if I didn't like it, then I'd probably go to a mixed drink or something like that. I'll be honest with you. When I first started drinking too, I was like a little bit more fruity stuff. Something that had a little bit more flavor because I want to drink
Nothing
something
wrong with
that tasted good. No, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with an appletini, right?
Nope.
Or nothing wring with what's her name's boyfriend ordering a pomegranate martini.
Oh yeah.
And she orders a whiskey neat or something like that.
Yeah, Brandy from Rustic Rye. Big shout out to you.
Rustic Rye, yeah, great band. Check them out. Definitely want to get an update when they go on.
I tried to get them to perform this past Friday, but they were busy already. So yeah, if you could catch one of their shows, you know, I really recommend them. Their music, man, it was just something else.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the YouTube video afterwards, but even though the mics were turned away, they still sounded great.
The sound was good. Yeah, I unfortunately didn't have a chance to watch it. I mean, I haven't watched our other show from last week either, so I got some catching up to do. What is the best prank that you've ever seen? I mean, something that where you were just blown away, unbelievable. I can't believe somebody did that. Or even if it was just one where you're like, damn, I can't believe they did that. They might have took that a little too far.
Okay, there's two of them that I saw on YouTube. The first one, it was hilarious. The second one was actually kind of sad. So I'll go with the first one. There was this kid, and he was taking a shower.
Okay.
Right? And I guess it was his older brother. And, you know, the kid had shampoo on his hair. You saw it?
Right, I've seen this one. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was
he had shampoo in his hair, and his older brother kept putting, you know, more shampoo.
Right.
On his head, and so you just kept going and going, not realizing that you know somebody was putting more shampoos. That was just, I was dying, dude.
That was hilarious. I definitely did see that. That was a good one.
So that was a good one. Then there was another one of this one was I think it was the boyfriend trying to trick the girlfriend. So he snuck into the house to scare her. And she was so freaked out because, you know, he really did scare her a lot. The girl was so freaked out that she like ran outside and she got hit by a car.
That was not real. I've seen that one.
Okay.
There's no way that's real.
Yeah, everyone says that, but hey, you know what? Maybe someone can get freaked
There's
out.
no way. I mean, I don't know. I think because she thought he was a burglar or something like that.
Yeah.
That prank's gone bad or something. I don't know what the actual thing is, but yeah, I remember that one.
So those two, I think, are the top for me. What about yourself?
I've seen a couple of good ones. One of the ones I really liked was actually on College Humor, the Prank Wars. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Prank Wars are like these two like college age guys. By now they're probably like 50 or something. But they started doing these pranks. It was two guys. I think they were at Yale or something. Like they were definitely like more educated, higher education, Ivy League guys, and they were really creative about creating ways to prank each other. And every clip they would make would be like back and forth. They'd find a way to get each other. And one of the ones the guy did was one guy was pranking his buddy who was at a Yankee game, a New York Yankee game with his girlfriend. And his prank was he got the Yankees to put a message up on the message board pretending that the guy was proposing to his girlfriend.
Oh man.
And so it came up on the board, and they've planted people in the stadium around their seats with like hidden cameras, so they're getting all the action. And she sees it, and she's like, oh my gosh, and he's like, no, that's not no. And then so anyway, so she gets mad, and I think she slapped him or hit him in the face, but it was great, and it was on, it was on the big jumbotron, and he got smacked in the face. That was a really good one. I enjoyed watching that one. You could find that at Prank Wars, College Humor, one of those websites. You could find it. Another one I really liked, which I thought was hilarious because it was very real, and I mean, there's no way it was like staged. But a guy, his girlfriend was sleeping. I don't know if it was like they lived together or if it was her apartment or she was sleeping at his place, but she's sleeping on the couch. So what he did was he got an inflatable pool and put it up next to the couch and filled it up with water. And she was sleeping, so she didn't know anything this was happening. And then just got his hands up under and flipped her over out of the couch while she was sleeping into the pool and just ran for his life. And of course, she freaked out, gets up like, what the, and that was hilarious. So that was another good prank too. I've probably seen some other good ones too. I enjoy watching those and the pranks. I think it's good to have a good laugh, especially when it's at others' expense.
By all means, man. Yeah, definitely. And to the viewers out there, if you have any pranks, please post them on our YouTube page or our Facebook
definitely
page.
Let us know.
Share the laugh. And
I will say this, it's mean, but to me, it's so true. Anytime I see like a funny video or a funny clip, whether it's just a prank or a blooper or somebody, slipping on their skateboard and taking a shot in the nuts or something like that, the equation I've come up with is prank plus fat people equals funnier. Anytime I see something happen to like either a chubby kid or a fatter older person, it's just funnier. I don't know why, but to me, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just cynical that way, but I think it's funnier.
Maybe. All right, so we're going to move on. Our next topic for tonight was relationships, do's and don'ts. From a single guy myself and a married guy.
Yeah, so we give you a couple of different perspectives. We were just, coming up with different topics, and everybody's got their relationship battles. I mean, whether it's, whatever your situation may be, married, dating, living together, single, bachelor, gay, straight. To me, doesn't make a difference as long as you're not bothering me. I'm good. So it's just. I feel from my experience being married, I've definitely pissed off my wife a good number of times, and it goes back and forth. It's give and take, and I've definitely learned, and not only from that, but previous relationships about do's and don'ts. So I mean, I think to me, one of the most important things that I've found is being yourself. If you try to be some cool guy or some douchey guy, or just something that you're not. It's not going to happen.
I'm glad you brought that up because I believe that in the beginning of a relationship, you should not be yourself. You should be yourself, but to a very limited version of you.
Like play yourself down? All right.
Don't release the crazy right away. That's how I put it.
Release the Kraken.
And do you agree with that? Would you say that when you first started dating your wife, you tried to keep a lot in, and then little by little, you kind of got more comfortable. And
well, I definitely played it up. I admit that. I mean, that was one of my downfalls. Was I definitely tried to impress on the first date. And I admit, and she'll make fun of me to this day. I wore like some douchey fedora on our first date. And, but I was trying to look good. I had lost a bunch of weight at the time, so I was feeling really good about myself, and definitely. I think I made a good impression, but not good enough to get a kiss on the first date. She denied me. I went in for the kiss, and it didn't happen. So advice pointer number 2, don't go in for that first kiss unless you're sure you're going to get it back. Because there's nothing there's nothing more embarrassing or an awkward turtle moment more than, going in for that first kiss and just getting the door slammed on your face. Maybe not literally, but it could be literally. It depends on your situation. And then we ended up ending the night on a handshake. So again, even more awkward. Not even a hug. Not even a hug. Well, I didn't even to me, I was at the point where, damn, if I go in for the hug, is she going to think like I'm trying to kiss her again? So I just kind of went for the handshake and called it a night.
Okay, and you guys went on a second date, obviously.
There was a second date.
Explain that.
The second date was we went to the swap meet, and I totally was just cocky and arrogant and full. We had good conversation, but I was but I kept telling her, I said, come on. I know you wanted to kiss me. I mean, I know you're playing the hard to get first date. I don't want to be that kind of girl, but come on, you wanted to kiss me. And I was just playing that, kind of peppered it in throughout us, walking around the swap meet. I don't know if we ever bought anything, but that was the second date. So we just did that for the day.
And what swap meet, by the way? I'm very
Orange
curious.
County swap meet.
Orange County.
That's kind of been my go-to. That's the one my parents have always gone to.
I always go to the Paramount swap meet.
Paramount swap meet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone to the Pico Indoor one.
Oh, okay.
And then the Santa Fe Springs one.
Yeah.
Those are pretty. I mean, actually, I've had some good finds there. The one in Orange County I like. It's pretty nice. I think it's got more of like a farmer's market also attribute to it. And a lot of times they'll have like cool classic cars on display too. So it's a cool one to go to. It is a little bit out of the way. It is in Orange County. It's at the fairgrounds. They got the fair going on right now, but it's still a lot of fun to go to.
Yeah, going back to the topic, I really believe that once you start dating,
Mm-hmm.
I think that people play a different version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only thing that really matters is your confidence.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's all.
I don't think it's the only thing, but it definitely plays a huge role. I would agree.
Because I've seen people try, some corny pickup lines, like corny pickup lines.
Yeah, I still am
really?
amazed when I see people do that. It's like, wow, really? Or they go that,
Yeah.
or a little, like, do people really think that works?
But it works.
No, it does not work.
I have a friend. She was actually on the show.
Okay.
And she was saying that a guy came up to her and gave her the pickup line. Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Get out of here.
And she continued talking to him. She
Wow.
continued talking to him, man.
Hey, I mean, that sounds like something that Arturo Alejandro Gutierrez might use. That guy is the master of pickup lines. I'm sure employee of yours. Does he ever just like, if he comes up with a new one or if he hears one, does he tell you about them?
Not really, man.
He used to. Maybe not so much anymore. I used to talk to him more often than I have lately. But Arturo, the master of pickup lines. He's got the good ones, the corny ones, everything in between. I don't know if he's still single. Last I heard he was. But ladies, you're missing out on a top prospect right there.
Yeah, hit him up.
Good
Arturo
guy.
Alejandro. Actually, he doesn't like being called Arturo anymore, so it's Alejandro.
It's Alejandro?
Alejandro now, yeah.
I just call him Son of Gutierrez because that's where I like to go. Respect to the pops.
There you go. Okay, so once again, talk to me more about the whole... Well, actually, I have a question for you. Everyone says, if you want to be happy, keep your wife happy.
A happy wife is a happy life.
Yes. Explain that to me.
When the queen is happy, the kingdom's at peace. There's all kinds of these sayings that kind of go with it. And
so you agree?
Oh, I absolutely agree. Okay. I absolutely agree. I think with any relationship, you just got to know how it's really a lot about pick and choosing your battles. I mean, because there's some stuff that I will blow up or make a bigger deal, and then an hour later, I'm like, gosh, what an idiot. What was I thinking? Like, get over yourself. And so you got to realize that, we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. And I mean, obviously there's going to be hot buttons that, that people are going to touch that are going to, cause you to maybe fly off the handle. But my biggest advice is I don't like to talk or say anything if I'm angry. Because I'm probably going to say something that I don't really mean, that I might regret, that I might just say in anger. But my wife gets really mad at me for not talking. She's like, gosh, you don't say anything. And I just kind of bite my tongue like, I don't want to say something I'm going to regret. And it has served me better. She doesn't like it because I don't talk, and she, I think women have a tendency to want to talk things out like right away. And for me, that doesn't work for me. So I want to cool off, come back. Hey, I'm sorry, or this is why you were wrong. To me, that's what's worked.
I actually learned that at a very young age.
Really?
Yeah, because I have I'm the type of person that if I get angry, I get into a rage.
Right.
And I start saying very hurtful things. So I learned very little that, I have to keep cool.
Right.
Like, that's just big for me. Here's the thing, though. When it comes to arguments, when I had a girlfriend, yeah, by all means, I would keep my cool, but I would never let go. That's never been me. Like, I am the most stubborn person in the world. And
so if you're right, and there's no talking you out of it.
Yeah.
All right.
So, going back to the whole a happy wife is a happy home.
Right.
I think that's going to be something hard, man. That's going to be a hard one for you.
I mean, it's but I think when you find the right person, you sacrifice. I mean, that's what it is, because like I said, it's give and take. You know, we as Catholics, you know, believe in the sacrament of marriage. You know, you become two united as one, and that's really what it is. I mean, I don't want to use the cliches, but it is. It's the yin and yang. It's the sweet and the sour. It's that balance. I mean, if you don't have balance in your life, not just in relationship, but I think in anything, I mean, you're gonna tilt in one direction. That's probably gonna not be good for you. I mean, even good things in excess are not good for you.
Right. I'm gonna have to start out before I go into a relationship. I'm gonna have to start out with therapy.
You'll be all right. Now, as far as like we talk about some of the don'ts, I mean, what are definitely the do's? I mean, for you, I mean, is it a do to, you know, to give a girl flowers, or to be romantic, to be the gentleman, to open a door for a lady, a car door or a restaurant door? Like, are those like some of those things, or things that are like a must, like you have to do for, you know, in a relationship? Or is there anything for you that's like a must you got to do?
To be honest with you, I'm actually I was born in Mexico, as you know.
Right.
So Mexicans are very
Mexico City.
Mexico City. Yes.
That's right.
Thank you.
I remember.
Mexicans are very romantic. You know, romance is
The
a big
Latin
thing.
lover.
The Latin lover. And that's me, man. I am a very romantic guy. You know, I try to give of myself when it comes to being in a relationship. And not just being in a relationship, even with friends.
Right.
You know, when I go out with friends that are girls, I open the door for them.
Right.
You know, and I tell them, hey, wait in the car until I go around to get your door.
Okay.
And they all get mad. But I tell them, you know, I'm letting you know that there's still guys out there, you know, that are gentlemen. So,
Chivalry still exists.
yeah, chivalry still exists.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's something that I do. You know, I open doors, you know, I pay for the bill if it's a date.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a must.
Yeah. So that's big for me. So, but one of the things that I think is definitely a don't is to be very, how can I put it? I think persistence is important,
Okay.
but you have to learn the balance between persistence and too much
Or annoyance.
annoyance.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good word. Because, you know, well, it's something that I learned even before starting a date. Like, my sister would always tell me, like, you're funny, but, you know, stop. You got to stop at some point. You got to stop. And I'm like, okay, you know, because the girls that I liked or whatever, you know, I would make them laugh. That's big. Oh,
Right.
Comedy.
Comedy.
Comedy is huge.
So bad sense of humor is a no for you?
Well,
She's got to have a good sense of humor, or does she have to be funny?
no. The guy has to be funny.
Oh, okay. So that's a do in a relationship, is you got to be funny.
Yeah, you got to be funny. And the girl has to get your jokes.
Or at least she's got to think you're funny.
Yeah.
Even if you're not funny to the rest of the world. Because that's one thing. I don't know that I'm very funny to the rest of the world. I make myself laugh, and I make my wife laugh.
That's all that
And I
matters.
can make my kids laugh. That's about it.
Yeah,
I can make myself laugh, too. I'm pretty good at that, so.
No. Comedy is big, man. If you got a girl's, what's that? If you got a girl's key to her smile, you have a key to her heart. That's the
Kind of like a guy, if you got a key to his stomach, you got a key to his heart. So kind of like similar situation.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
That's another dude. If you know, for the single guys out there, if you do end up looking for a girl, make sure she knows how to cook.
Hell yeah, make sure she knows how to cook, because, you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could be buying filet mignon, but if she's going to burn it every night, that ain't going to go over too well.
Yeah.
I have found an amazing cook. My wife actually cooks some of my mother-in-law's recipes better than my mother-in-law.
Oh man.
And I'm not afraid to tell my mother-in-law that, because I'm hoping she should step her game up a little bit and make the food a little better. But yeah, I mean, traditional Mexican home, what my wife grew up in. So I mean, the food is amazing, and they're amazed too. I mean, when I first started coming around, and it's like a lot of times they had, you know, just like, you know, refried beans, but they're homemade, and I'm just like, oh, just give me beans, a little cotija cheese, and a tortilla, and I'm good. And they're like, really? Like, we have this all the time. I'm like, yeah, I don't have it all the time. So I mean, that's good with me. You make this once a week, we're gonna be just fine.
Okay, so what is your favorite dish?
My favorite Mexican.
Mexican
so
dish.
If it's coming from my wife, it's her enchiladas.
Okay.
She makes the sauce from scratch, and she makes the filling. It's like this. She boils chicken, and so uses a little bit of shredded chicken, and then she boils in the chicken broth. She boils potatoes. So
Okay.
it's like potatoes and sautéed onion and chicken and some cotija cheese and the filling, and then rolls them up. And see, when I grew up, my mom made enchiladas, but my mom is English, so she would make them like canned sauce, rolled up in a casserole dish, bake them in the oven, bring them out. You got, I mean, they're enchiladas, but it's not the same.
Right.
I mean, my wife would fry the tortillas, stuff them, roll them, make the sauce from scratch. I mean, it was an all-day labor thing, and oh my gosh. So enchiladas, my best thing for my wife. That's probably, I think that's my favorite Mexican dish, definitely.
Has she ever made enchiladas de mole?
No, because she's not a big fan of the mole sauce. I love mole.
I want to
absolutely love it.
challenge her to make enchiladas de mole.
Well, I admit when she's made mole before, it's been canned mole sauce. Okay. I mean, I know it's a lot. I know it's like chocolate and chipotle and like there's different kind of chilies you can use. I know it's a very labor intensive process.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just. But that my wife's enchilada is absolutely the best.
For sure. Yeah, my mom makes enchiladas de mole.
Does she?
Yeah, and oh man.
So leftovers next time. Next time we have a Monday show, we got to get those leftovers.
You know what? We should bring in food.
Liquor and food?
Liquor and food.
That's a great way to go.
There you go.
As far as like I mean, I would say one thing too. I would think it's definitely important to, I think, show a genuine interest in her likes. Would you agree?
Oh, most definitely. I think that, especially when you're in the first stages of dating, what you want to do is keep her talking.
Right.
You don't want to be egocentric.
Of course.
You want to know everything about her.
That's a great sales tactic too.
Oh, by all means, yes.
By all means.
Yes. You want to keep her talking. You know that's a must in a first date, second date, third date. Just pretty much always.
And listen, and if you're bad with your memory, write it down. I mean, trust me. It's if she's interesting, if what she's saying is interesting, it's worth writing it down. So I'd even recommend that if you don't have a good memory, or maybe you guys had too much to drink.
It's called the diary.
Yeah,
it's called the diary.
Or a journal. If
you don't want to call it a diary,
whatever. I mean, either way, whatever you feel comfortable with.
I have a notepad in my phone, and I really do. I use it for business, but
my brother used it for his betting tabs.
But okay, so going back to the do's and don'ts, I think that one of the things that when you're first dating, and it's very important, we talked about confidence.
Right.
But in that confidence, it can't be a cocky confidence. I think that conceitedness or thinking you're too much, I think it pulls off. It pushes away.
And there's a very fine line there between arrogance or cockiness and confidence. Because I know when my wife first met me, I met her. She was a receptionist at the job I was working, and this was my first full-time job out of college. And so my approach was, okay, I don't know anything about this business or the industry. This isn't my field of expertise, but I got picked for this job. I didn't apply for it. They actually picked me, and so I thought, wow, the only way I'm gonna succeed is not fake it, but I'm at least gonna act confident. Okay, if I don't know, I'm not gonna be too shy to ask questions. But so I walked around with definitely this confidence, chest out a little bit, proud bird. And so my wife thought I was very cocky, I think, to begin with. But I think once she talked to me and got to know me, she just saw I was very confident. So definitely a very fine line right there. You gotta and if you're walking on both sides of it, that's cool. But I mean, don't be afraid to practice modesty as well.
Right. Being humble is definitely a key as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the do's and don'ts, and I have another question for you when it comes to marriage.
Okay.
What happened when you had your kids? Did it enhance your relationship?
It has made us work harder for the relationship. So the do, I would say, and it's something that I sometimes maybe lose track of, and my wife reminds me, or I have to remind myself, is just to continue dating. I got to continue dating my wife. But it becomes hard because, I'm focused on, for me, I mean, my wife's a stay-at-home mom for a couple more years until the kids are ready to go to preschool, because we both agree that's the best thing for them, for their development. And we're saving some money for a house, so we have a pretty low rent situation right now. So my job is to provide, for my family, and so a lot of time is spent also, being the best dad that I can, because you can't really screw up with the kids. You only get them when they're at that age one time, so you got to do the best you can. But I try to, we try to, even if it's just going out for a cup of coffee or go out for a cocktail. after the kids are asleep, because that's usually kind of when we get our dates. Sometimes it's just we'll go out, or just go to Yum Yum Donuts and get a coffee and then come back and just chill out, or we'll watch. Right now we're watching Game of Thrones after the kids go to sleep. I started getting into that, so. And don't post anything. I don't want any cheats. I'm only in the first season. I'm not even through it yet, so don't post anything about that. But
that's a prank right there. If you want to prank Jason,
just tell me. But yeah, you got to keep it alive. And I think it's anytime you get. I know you were in a dating situation where you were dating for a couple years. How were you guys able to keep? I don't want to touch on a sensitive topic, but just as practice. How do you keep that the intensity or the fire going in a relationship where you still keep it exciting?
Oh, by all means, man. I think that was very important. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons our relationship ended.
Really?
It's not a sensitive subject, by all means. It's been a good while.
All right.
That was one of the reasons. I was so focused on business.
Right.
And that's don't.
Right.
Don't do that. Make sure you pay attention to your significant other. It's very important that you make the time, and you ignore the things that are not going to be there for the rest of your life.
Right.
A business, as much as it might be your dream, is not going to be next to you on your deathbed.
Right.
Your significant other is going to be there next to you on your deathbed, or you might meet up
vice
in heaven,
versa, yeah.
et cetera.
Right.
A business is not. So don't do that. Don't prioritize your work life on top of your family life or your relationship life. Like, it doesn't work that way. And it took me a good while to learn that. So I'd like to pass on the advice to the people out there.
I would agree. I think, and I don't know if it's a direct correlation, but that could be. Maybe it's the news, maybe it's the media, maybe it's the 24/7 news coverage. But I feel like there's a lot of messed up kids out there, and I know divorce rate's higher than it's ever been. So maybe that's a lot of people are focusing more on the careers first. I definitely think that's a don't. I work hard, I bust my ass for my job. I'm on a. I'm not on an hourly thing where I'm on a salary, so I probably put in more than 40 hours every week too. But when I get home, work gets put away in the briefcase or the laptop bag, and then it's I'm dad and I'm husband, then. And definitely, I agree on your sentiment. It would encourage that people to. You got to work hard. Maybe that's why people aren't getting married or having kids till they're older, anyways, because they're putting that. And that's cool. Getting your career settled up first. But
there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you once you do get married, you set up your priorities.
Yeah.
Like, obviously right now that I'm single, I am pushing as hard as I can. I don't even care about a relationship right now.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like all focused, 100%, go.
But dating, going out on dates now and then?
I've been going out on dates here and there.
The higher decibel level a little bit.
But it's not as important to me right now.
Right, no, I get that, yeah. Absolutely.
Right now what's important is, hey, you know what? I want to be ready for when I do find that one. Mm-hmm. When I do find that one girl that's gonna matter. Mm-hmm. I want to be ready, kind of like what you were saying. I want to buy a house. I want to, I don't know, man, give her the world. I want to be the hey, stay at home, take care of the kids.
Right.
I got you.
Right.
That's important for me.
It's very, very important, and it's great for the kids too.
Yeah.
I would say one thing I wanted to touch back, because I know another topic we were kind of flirting with a little bit. We may get to another night, but it kind of ties into what we're talking about. Is that my wife really actually was great about getting to know me and my likes, and they didn't always correspond or they weren't parallel with her likes. So one of my likes is I'm a hip hop fan. I'm a dad now, so I'm not deep into all the underground stuff. I don't know, but I know a lot of older stuff that I really like. And one of the coolest things my wife did for me was she took me. This is when we're still dating. I think it was before we were engaged. Took me to a Wu-Tang concert.
Wow.
So I was impressed. One, that she was willing to go with me and she wanted to go with me, and two, that she knew I was into Wu-Tang Clan, and she got me tickets for the show. So it was a small venue, House of Blues, and we had dinner before, and the show was off the hook. This was after ODB had passed, but it was all the members were there except for RZA wasn't there for some reason. But House of Blues, small venue, and it was just great. It was a great show, and actually, kind of the bummer part about it, but it was really fun. That just goes to show what a big trooper my wife is that actually Method Man actually came out and jumped off the bar into the crowd, and we're holding him up like this, and my wife lost her glasses because she went to duck. or she went like this. Anyways, her glasses. Everybody went up to grab them, and she lost her glasses, and she. But yeah, so I mean, just a great show, but I mean, a really cool experience. That was definitely one of the cooler shows I've been to. We were talking about epic concerts and stuff like that, and that was one of the coolest shows that I've been to.
Yeah, man, we definitely have to touch that on maybe the next show.
Absolutely, because I definitely got a lot of shows. Are you a big concert goer?
You know what? I'm not, but I'm trying to be.
Okay.
I think the biggest concert that I've been to that to me was it blew my mind was the Blue Man Group.
Oh, okay.
Have you been to?
I haven't. I've wanted to go, but I haven't been.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's what I hear. Everybody who's seen it just says it's a great show.
It's just something out of this world, and you know I'm a big music fan. You know I love music. I play the piano. I DJ.
Right.
So the things they do with instruments, man, it's just out of this world. It's something else.
Do you think it's a weird or maybe a no-no, like on a first date, to take a girl to a concert? Is that a do or a don't, do you think? Or is it somewhere in between in the gray area?
That's a tough one. If you're both paying for each part, then
I'm saying you buy her the ticket. You know, it's like you ask a girl on a date, or you want to go to this show, or you're like, hey, I got an extra ticket, or even if you say, hey, I want to go to this concert, you want to come out with me as an excuse. If you know it's a band that she likes or something like that.
Have you been friends for a while?
I don't know. Let's just say you at least know you've met her before in a casual social circle. You have similar friends. And she likes, let's say, she likes Tiesto, and Tiesto's in town, and you're like, hey, I got a couple of tickets for Tiesto. Do you want to go?
I think that if you know deep down inside that it's gonna go somewhere,
But you don't know her so well yet, so this
Okay.
is like a getting to know you first date.
I'm gonna have to say no.
Yeah,
Gonna have to say no.
yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I think some people would think, wow, that's got to be like an impressive first date. Like he took me to a concert, but. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe you have great conversation afterwards. You go to a coffee shop or a bar, and who knows?
I've always heard that the rule is get to know her in a social environment first,
Right.
with a whole bunch of friends,
Uh-huh.
and little by little start weaning into the whole. Hey, let's go get some coffee. Let's go get some drinks. Let's go, But damn, to go from meeting her once in a social environment,
0 to 60.
Yeah, 0 to 60. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I said, if there's attraction, if there's chemistry, I think go for it. But
How do you feel about the expression? You don't just marry the girl; you marry the girl's family. Is getting along with the girl's family like a do or a don't for you? Like, do you have to get along with her family, or is it not a big deal? Is that a kind of do or don't thing for you?
I think it's a must.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially I'm Mexican.
Right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I've always been told if you want to marry a girl, look at her mom, and how her mom acts,
Right.
and that's how the girl's gonna act.
Okay.
So I pay attention to that a lot.
Yeah.
And what they tell the girls is look at how the guy treats her mom,
Of course.
his mom.
Of course.
If he treats her with respect and with a lot of love, that's how he's gonna treat you.
Right.
So yeah, I think you do marry the family. I think that's a big.
I think so too, and I can tell you. I mean, I dated a girl one time, and the family was just not. I mean, I don't want to say they're bad people because I don't want to say they're bad people, but definitely was not like the whole family scenario like I would envision for me. But I stuck it out with her for a while, but it ended up like definitely not working. I think it wasn't working for a while, but when you're in a relationship, you don't want to just like quit on it. Nobody likes a quitter, right? I mean, so
And you get comfortable.
I think that too. Yeah,
Get comfortable.
Even some people get comfortable with the fighting. They're just like, okay, here we go again. Here's round 20. I haven't knocked her out yet, or knocked her up. One of the two.
When it comes to fighting, I think a lot of people confuse anger with attention. It's like, oh, at least I'm getting that attention.
Okay.
So subconsciously, they're like, oh, at least I'm getting that attention. So I prefer that attention than no attention at all.
Yeah, I think some people are definitely like that, but and I think a lot of it has to do too with, I guess, the parent situation. I mean, what kind of attention you got as a kid, without getting too psychological on it. I mean, there's definitely all kinds of other contributing factors that make it tough. But
yeah, if you're boxing in the first date, you should Stay away from that.
That's definitely no. And I'm not going to mention about the first date activities on the Luis Manuelo show earlier today. I heard some of that. But shout out to Luis Manuelo's, another podcast here on Emix Radio. Big shout out to his show. We love to support him.
Yeah, most definitely. And as a matter of fact, he's doing big things. He was at the Brea.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get to go because he said it was going to be on the 23rd last Wednesday, but it moved to Tuesday, so I didn't get a chance to go.
Yeah, he moved it. He was talking about he got a standing ovation.
Get out of here.
He got a standing ovation.
Big props. That's awesome.
That takes a lot, man. It takes a lot. I wonder if as a DJ I'll ever get a standing ovation.
We'll see. Sooner or later. We got to start doing your own shows. I mean, I know you're doing the whole DJ event, but you got to start making your own beats, man. I know you got the talent.
I know. I'm just gonna ask people. Can you please stand? Clap for me, and then I'm gonna tell the story.
They were standing. It was just for the bride and groom.
Exactly. Hey, but I told them to stand, so hey, you gotta get some credit there.
Absolutely.
All right. So any other do's and don'ts about relationships?
I would just say. I would say the biggest do for me is listen, and the biggest don't would be don't lie.
Okay.
Well, biggest thing. I mean, keep it simple. Two biggest do, biggest don't.
Okay, for sure. I have a question about that. What do you mean by don't lie?
I mean, just keep honest. I mean, if somebody asks you a question like where you were, what you were doing, I mean, just speak the truth. I mean, if you try to create some cover-up story, if you were out, with your boys, if you're out drinking, you say, oh, it was just, chilling at, Joe's house. We just had a couple beers. It's like, hey, just say you went to a bar. I mean, yeah.
I've always believed that the truth comes out no matter what.
Yeah.
One way or another, the truth comes out. So
yeah.
Why even bother to lie?
Right, exactly.
Okay, the last do's and don'ts for me, I want to say that when you're first starting to go out with a girl, be very mindful of paying attention to who she is. Mm-hmm. So it's very important that you don't focus on external factors.
Right.
I think that...
But you got to be attracted to her.
Yeah, most definitely.
No doubt. You got to be attracted to her.
Yeah. But there's a lot of guys out there that they look at beauty,
right?
And that's all they look at.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some very beautiful girls that are complete a-holes,
or dumber than a box of rocks too. I mean, I've seen that too. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a don't. Stay away from those.
Absolutely.
I feel that attitude has a lot more to do with a person's ability to be in a relationship than the looks.
Right.
And then the last do, actually I covered both do's and don'ts.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Emix Radio with my co-host
Jason.
That's right. Catch us every single Monday at 8 p.m. We are here live, and we have a green screen now. There's actually a brick wall behind us.
Yeah.
It's a real brick wall. I was lying about the green screen. Catch us next Monday.
Check you later.